So gonna do a little tune-up morning rampage before I get my work day started, y'all. It is Saturday, 2 days before Memorial Day weekend. And, well, practically it's Memorial Day weekend now, but Memorial Day is Monday. And I wanted to do a video about this topic. I actually thought of this tweet yesterday, and I was just gonna post it on the community tab, and then I said, nope, I'm gonna actually turn this into a video because I think this topic for a video is very important. Now, there may be some sensitive topics in this video for the real ones out here. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this video. You see what I'm saying? Whatever I feel like saying, I'm gonna say because I want to. And just a little disclaimer, there may be a lot of topics that you all can relate to, especially Black women. And then there's others of you where you haven't had this experience, so you're not going to be able to relate. You see what I'm saying? But I'm going to give you all my experience, and I am going to talk about some certain sensitive topics that I think, do relate to this situation when it comes to manifesting, knocking out goals, making things happen for yourself. I think it kind of all ties in to, the process of life. So I don't know how long or short this video is going to be. I have a lot of things to do today, like usual, but I wanted to speak from the heart as to where I'm at right now. And I actually am going to make no apologies for it because a lot of people out here can relate to what I'm saying. And I think that it's important to keep things into perspective. And I think it's highly important to overlook some of the realistic concepts that can be blockages in life, but not shy away from them, basically, not shying away from reality. So, there's an election in America coming up in November, and I was seeing a couple posts and there's different things trending and whatnot. And there's just been a lot of different things I've been witnessing or thus have experienced. Wait, is my AirPods off? Okay, I was gonna say my AirPods should be off because I'm talking now. So as I was working yesterday night, I was at my computer and the phrase came to me, eliminate everything that is not in your desired reality. And I really had to stop myself because that statement was so profound. That statement felt so profound to me, I should say, because when you are going for things in life and in the 3D, there is natural blockages, a lot you can not control and some that you can't control. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times, for some people more than others, there's trauma, there's stereotypes, there's backbiting, there's betrayal, there's racism. I'm going to just say it, there's racism. And I'm going to be all the way real with you. And those who can't take the real, then why are you here? You see what I'm saying? Because I'm just going to tell you like what I've observed, what I've experienced up to this point in my life. And, I deem my life a decent one, but I'm nowhere near where I want to be. You see what I'm saying? Like, to somebody else, they could look at my life and say, oh, wow, like you've done so much. Like you have come such a long way. And then to me, I'm like, I'm just getting started. Like what you think is, mountains upon mountains upon mountains in my reality, in my mind, and for what I want for my life, I feel like I'm just getting started. I feel like this is just like the lowest that I'll ever be, you know, to keep it 100% with you all. I feel like this is the lowest I will ever be. And that's saying something from my standard. You know what I'm saying? My quality of life, my lifestyle, that's saying a lot because to somebody else looking from the outside in, they would say, you're good, you got it, you know, you're doing so much for yourself. But to me, I'm like, this is nothing. This is nothing compared to what I actually see for myself. And I saw a tweet, not from anyone in particular that I follow, but I saw it in the trending, like, you know, like on Twitter, they have trending words and you click the trending word and then different like random people have their own input. Well, that's basically what happened. And I came across a young Black lady that tweeted out, is it just me, or as you get older, the racism gets worse? And she was giving an example, blah, 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 blah. And I had to stop because I was like, whoa, that's real. You know what I'm saying? And not every single Black person or quote unquote ethnic person or whatever can relate. But that was real. That was one of the realest things I ever seen in my life. And I was shocked because how true it is. Like, let's keep in mind, right? As you are getting degrees, work experience, building businesses, building your portfolio, networking, blah, 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 blah. The reality is that for some people versus other people, it is significantly harder. And I think that manifestors and people that claim they're spiritually enlightened and whatnot, I think that they need to continue to not shy away from that fact. For example, Kelly from the Destiny's Child, one of the co-singers with Beyonce and Michelle, she went to the film festival I was telling you guys about the other day, and she was explaining how she was experiencing a lot of prejudice because she was on the red carpet and there was a French security guard lady that was trying to push her down the red carpet because simply she was a dark-skinned Black woman. Okay? And she's achieved a lot more than a lot of people up there, but because of the color of her skin and the gender that she holds, she was pushed down the line. And when other reporters after the fact, after the incident, asked her, you know, what was going on, you know, how was she feeling? She visibly had tears in her eyes, and I felt so bad for her. And that's what I'm talking about. It's like only Black women can relate to what we go through. And I'm bringing it up for the sole purpose that a lot of people deal with these type of traumas, and these are the exact type of traumas and irritations in life, as I should put it, that can slow down manifestation. You see what I'm saying? And I don't think people should gloss over that. You know, if someone was raised in a like let's say, for an example, a little off that specific point, let's go to another point, right? If somebody was born in, you know, extreme poverty, you know, regardless of so-called race or skin color, they're raised in extreme poverty, so all they know is poverty, they're naturally gonna inherit a poverty mindset. Do you see what I'm saying? So depending upon who you are in this matrix, the you know, the fleshly skin that creates blockages or creates advantages, you have a different basket and level of demons to deal with that other people don't have to deal with. And I really had to acknowledge that, because I think that way back when, I'm keeping it 100% real with you all, way back when, I remember seeing a post about the law of attraction. And this was like probably 7 years ago when I was, you know, just starting out on my spiritual journey, I call it self-enhancement journey, quite frankly. And I saw somebody put on Reddit under this question, is the law of attraction for Black people, or is the law of attraction for people of color, or something like that? Like, does it still work? And, you know, people that are not in that group, you have to sit and think and ask yourself, how does that feel? How does that feel when somebody is wondering that because of the color of their skin, does a universal law work or not? That's crazy. Think about that. That's crazy. That was years ago. So I want to be the first person to congratulate. Let's put it this way. I want to be one of the first people, if not the first on my channel, to congratulate people who don't have advantages. I got to put that out here because a lot of people, I'm going to be honest with you, if you already come from a certain socioeconomic background, or you're around more millionaires than people in poverty, yes, you have an advantage. You see what I'm saying? May not be a physical advantage, but the mental blocks, some mental blocks are just not there. You see what I'm saying? And luckily, thankfully, it can go past the color of your skin. It can go past, you see what I'm saying, you know, your last name or your first name. But a lot of times it can't, you know, a lot of times it can't. And this is something that people that are so-called a minority, and only in America the minority, but the rest of the world they're not a minority. These are things that they deal with that people are not talking about realistically, okay? Because it's not as easy to just snap your fingers, right? Okay, let's say, for example, in your reality, you're not dealing with a racist boss. You're not dealing with racist neighbors. You're not dealing with things like that, right? But with the interactions in the world that you have to, the people you have to go past and whatever, that could be their mentality. Their mentality may be that women are not worthy of anything. You know what I'm saying? That person's mentality could be that that woman is beneath a man. That woman is not equal to a man. That woman is not deserving of her wealth. That's a reality, okay? But here's the kicker, and here is the thing that they're not talking about, that most people are too afraid to talk about, that I'll talk about, is it takes a lot of rewiring, okay, to get out of that funk, to get out of that system, to get out of that mentality, okay? Because if somebody is, like, let's say, for an example, an ethnic person, they call ethnic person, right? But they're raised around a bunch of millionaires and billionaires, they still have a level of trauma that other people do not have. Let's just speak about it. Let's just talk about it right now. So I think that what I want to say in this video is that, especially Black women in particular, you have to have your own back, and you really have to go, I almost want to say, you have to surpass so much, because the 3D world is not kind to us. It's not kind to people that are ethnic. And I don't care if they say that it's dead and that, no, it's not. It's not, because if people that are celebrities that have achieved so much are still experiencing racism, then, you know, respectfully, I have to disagree that, you know, times have not really changed. And I think that's a huge component that people love to gloss over because of privilege, because of what they were told by people who look down on other people, okay? And that's what I was saying in my other video, and I didn't get to touch on it. I didn't get to touch on it that deep because that topic, that sentence alone is very, 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 very deep. But that is the reality, is that people will naturally undermine you. They'll naturally try to lowball you. I've experienced that many times in my life. And you have to have a strong boundary. You have to have, so we're getting on the topic now of your true star player. You have to be so in tune with your own value system, your own goals, your own standard of living. You know, you have to be so intentional, because the reality is that a lot of wealth building information, even broken down to race and socioeconomic and household and all that and family, blah, 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 blah. The data doesn't lie. You see what I'm saying? There's a plane, 1 second. There's a plane, 1 second, that's passed over my house. Okay, so even some videos I've watched, you know, some videos I watched about investing and retirement. The average American, okay, let's put it in the context of America now. The average American, 1 to 6%, okay, they have a lot of information that the other 95, 96%, okay, 94% does not have. And I think that we need to stop bullshitting ourselves and pretending like that's not the reality, right? So in order to create your desired reality, I'm going to go on a ledge and say that you need to also acknowledge what you've gone through, what your ancestors have gone through, maybe what even your parents have gone through. You have to value that a lot higher than another person because they haven't gone through that. You know what I'm saying? People love to try to relate to trauma and try to relate to certain prejudices, but the reality is they can't relate to it. You know, they try to relate to it to fit in, but the reality is they can't relate to it. So I'm saying especially for Black women, okay, whether you're a Black European, Black American, a Black African, you know, thoroughbred African, Black Australian, I'm saying especially for Black women, like around the world, because that's who I'm really, that's, you know, this is one of the people I really want to, you know, speak to in this video. You got to take it seriously. I feel like more seriously than everybody else, like really, because what I find and what I've learned is a lot of information, especially about wealth management, right? Wealth management, wealth building. Okay, majority of people are not going to extend that information to you for free, right? And even if they try to help or they try to like you know throw a dog a bone, the reason why the wealth disparity is so huge and proportionate is systematic. Okay, it's systematic and it's deliberate. So if you really are serious about being a multimillionaire, if you're really serious about being an entrepreneur, if you're really serious about getting out of the 9 to 6 or 8 to 6 or 8 to 5 rat race for the rest of your life, you have to be more intentional than the person to the left or to the right of you. Because the reality is that other groups of people, okay, and I'm not saying this to sound like yang, but I'm looking at data and I'm looking at how Americans spend money and I'm looking at what is a consistent trend that I see with Americans, right? And one of the consistent trends I see with Americans is that they spend a lot of money, right? But they don't invest it. They don't save it. You know, and, you know, let me put it plain Jane for you. Let's say even the lottery or people that come into an inheritance or whatever, okay? Your first thought should not be how I can buy a Chanel bag, how I can buy a gold chain, okay? And that's not just inclusive to just race per se or skin color, but we have to elevate past that, okay? You have to elevate past that. Your first thought should not be, what can I, because see, to them, and this is why I broke down another video about the low birth rates. This is kind of what I broke down a little bit in the other video, is to them, you're just a consumer, right? To them, you're just simply a consumer. You're not an investor. You're not a seller, right? That's how they see certain people, okay? And there's tons of books. If you guys want to look out there, there's tons of books and documentaries and artifacts out there that prove this. They have studies and research papers and and focus groups specifically designed to target your wallet to get you to spend into their business. But rarely do they ever teach you how to buy stock, how to buy dividends, how to buy real estate investments, okay? How to enlarge your portfolio. They're not teaching that for a reason, okay? So I'm just talking, I'm mixing in this video, I'm talking about the lower density, the lower vibration reality, and I'm trying to explain how you flip that on its head, okay? I'm giving you all a realistic, almost harsh point of view so you can really get it, because that's the everyday American in general, regardless of skin color, regardless of gender. That is how they've set it up. And other countries do model what America does. Not all of them, thank God, but a lot of these countries take after America. You know, whatever America does, monkey see, monkey do. They wanna follow in pursuit because they say, oh, well, the GDP and this and that and this and that. So it's a matrix, guys. It's a matrix. But I gotta be real with you. I think that Black women in particular should be taking up this kind of law of assumption and law of attraction information the hardest, the greatest, the strongest, for sure. Because in real life, okay, the support is rarely there. The support is rarely there. So you have to be able to, on your off days, I'm just telling you all the reality, on your off days, on the weekend, your nose is in books. The same books they don't want you to read. They don't want you to have, privy to this information. You're the one. Forget, your hating ass relatives. Forget your hating ass neighbors. I'm talking about you. You're a star player. I'm talking about your wealth, your retirement. Okay? Because the reality is that you could get married or not get married, but a lot of people fall trapped to this, guys. A lot of people fall trapped to just the regular okie doke script. You see what I'm saying? And why do you think that a lot of, Caucasian men are authors of these sort of books? Like, I hate to take it there, but I have to. Why do you think that a lot of Caucasian men are the writers and authors of these type of so-called manifestation books? Why do you think that is? Okay, because from the jump, they were not given a limited belief. They were not given a self-identity of hatred. Okay, it's up till recently that they're claiming racism with their own race, which I think is hilarious, which can never be. But now they're trying to use that victim slip because people are more diverse than ever. Okay, and it's fake. Okay, it's fake. It's just simply fake. So when you have a head start, or when you have a certain upbringing, or vice versa and whatnot, okay, you don't get to pull that card. You don't get to pull that card when you've had a huge head race. So if you had a huge head race in a game, and you still can't win, then that's on you. Okay, but there's people out here that have not had that advantage. You see what I'm saying? And they have to learn from scratch. And it's just the reality, okay? The matrix reality. But the leveled up reality, the manifested reality that I am trying to inspire you all to have, and I'm speaking about this morning, is the reality that you shut all that down. Okay? It's now the reality where all the slurs, the insults, the nasty people, all the things that people typically experience in that group of people, like I said, that information is really for us, okay? Because when you are manifesting, there's a process. There's a process, right? And I was listening to not that I wanted to, but in this video there was a particular Caucasian guy, I think he's Caucasian, and this other young white guy walked up to him. It was like a video about wealth building and all that, and walked up to him and asked him, like, how did you make all this money? And obviously it was real estate, no brainer. And he was like, did you come for money? And his response to the other guy was, no, I had a single mom. He claims, he said he had a single mom. His dad left them, blah, 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 blah. So the point that I'm making is, you have to get it for yourself, okay? Like, a lot of times, like I said, the information that the 1% to 6% have, the rest do not have. They don't have it. And that's why when they win the lottery, or when they come into inheritance, or they get a promotion, or they get a bonus at their job, the first thing is going to buy something that is most of the time a depreciating asset, okay? Or even a liability, quite frankly, okay? Material goods, okay? Nothing about degrees, nothing about a franchise, nothing about land, right? Nothing about a house, right? The way they've wired more people, I would say more people than others, but majority of people, they wired them just to keep spending, okay? It's all about, you have a cash flow, but that corporation, okay, that measly corporation, that nasty person, all they want is your money. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to off the front end offer you a share in their company, right? They're not off the front offering you to have a stock. No, but they'll send you 10, but they will sell you 10 pairs of shoes. If your credit is dirt average or dirt poor, they'll still sell you that Mercedes Benz, because why? They want their commission. They want their commission. They want their money off of you, off of your heart, off the back of your hard work. So make sure, and this is just really how I feel, okay? Especially if you're of the categories that I talked about at the beginning of the video. Make sure you don't get caught up in that. Okay, before you're gonna go buy an Audi or a Mercedes or a Lamborghini, why don't you look into buying a franchise? Why don't you look about creating your own business, your own small business? Why don't you think about owning a piece of land? Why don't you think about dividend stocks? Why don't you think about real estate investments? Why don't you do more research about how to have your money work for you, opposed to you're just, you know, spending. Why do you think that most people in the world, especially in America, are in their 60s and 70s still working? And I know some of you are watching this video and you're like, well, what do you mean? Like, isn't that normal? No, it's not normal. It's not. That's programming. Okay? They have programmed, this is going to get deep. They have programmed certain people more than others, like I said, but they have programmed majority of the population, okay, to be slaves. That's what it comes down to, okay? The first template was slavery. All we've done is upgrade it. So now you have modern day slavery. Nothing has changed, okay? So let's challenge this thought, right? Let's challenge this. Why do we think it's normal? Why should we think it's normal, right, to work until 60s or 70s to have a good life? You know, I think was it a Hispanic lady? This was like probably at least 5 years ago. I was at a nail salon, and you know how nail salons be. Now I just do my own nails predominantly. I don't waste money going to somebody because I could do it myself. But, you know, before COVID, I would say, you know, pre-COVID, before COVID, there was a particular nail salon I went to in a plaza, and just randomly, me and this lady struck up a conversation. I believe she was Hispanic. And she was explaining to me how, I think it was her grandfather, or was it her dad? I think it was her dad. She was explaining how, you know, he had a fairly good paying job, whatever, but majority of his life was just about, you know, the rat race, you know, the wheel, you know what I'm saying? That was all it was about. And then, you know, in his 60s, he got diagnosed with some kind of sickness, some kind of illness, some kind of illness. And she was going on to explain how, I guess in her case, I mean, I really don't know if I can relate just yet, because I'd have to see, you know, I have to project what I want for myself, and I'm actively working towards the kind of life that I want. So I don't really know if I can relate to what she's saying just yet. But in her case, what she was saying was that, you know, he got diagnosed with some kind of illness. And so because of that, you know, all the places he wanted to travel to, he wanted to vacation to, he never got to go to, because he was so stuck in a one-dimensional level of thinking, and he wasn't able to actually enjoy, you know what I'm saying, what he was working so hard for. So there was no balance, okay? There was no reciprocity, right? He was kind of stuck. So with that example, she was saying, you know, so what she was saying to me is like, you know, I never want to live that kind of life, because, you know, all he did was, you know, take care of this and take care of that and work. But he was never able to enjoy, You know what I'm saying? What he was working so hard to build up all those years. So there has to be, so I say that to say this, there has to be a plan, right? You have to have a plan that is tailored to your desires, to your needs, to your wants, okay? So if you're saying that, okay, in my life, in my lifetime, I want to go to this many countries, I want to have this average amount of vacations per year, and blah, 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 and more so, more so, more so on, then you have to seek out either a job position, a career, a business, freelance work. You have to then go forth and search out for something that makes sense to you. Because if you get stuck in the rat race trap of working for somebody just as an employee, and in particular, your PTO could be low, your benefits could be low, depending upon your situation, then what's going to happen is, 20 years go by, 10 years go by, and the things that actually matter to the person, right? For example, they never got to dive into because they were too busy giving all their energy, all their resources, outsourcing all their energy, all their resources to the wrong avenues. So you have to make sure, okay, that you're not getting caught up in that. And if you feel like you are getting caught up in that, re-strategize, do some research. Me myself, I wanted to go to bed. I really wanted to go to bed early, but I ended up going to bed at I think I ended up getting in my bed at 2:53 in the morning because I was working prior. Of course, I had to have dinner, had to take a shower, had to, get my bed organized. I've just been very, 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 very busy, but not just busy. I've been very, very productive. I've been very, very invested in my future. So, for example, retirement is something that the most people don't take seriously, you know and from the data that we're seeing, a lot of boomers, etc., are, depending upon especially the background of the history of the family or the household, they're relying upon their kids to take care of them, right? Or they're stuck in a dead end situation because they failed to plan. Now, of course, the pandemic has shaken up a lot for all of us. The pandemic has harshly pushed us, pushed our backs against the wall. But the point that I'm making is everything I've just stated, from the racism to inequality opportunities to lack of information, all these things I'm saying, you literally have to overcome all of that. Yes, if you want to be in tune with your star player, you have to look that in the eye, right? Bullying, insults, slurs, harassment, right? Derogatory comments, right? Stereotypes. You have to look all that in the face and surpass all that. Okay, so that's something that I've not really heard a lot of people talk about. And it's a shame because, you know, you have to be realistic. In the beginning, you have to be realistic in order to be living in fantasy land. You have to overcome a lot of things. You have to learn how to navigate a lot of things. And I think there's just certain factors you just cannot ignore. You know what I'm saying? And if you're ignoring certain factors, it's at a disservice to yourself. So when you actually face all the ugly things of this matrix and you stare at it right in the face and say, okay, I see how you want to play it. Okay, I see how you go about it. Okay, I see what you're assuming about me and my character. Okay, I see. It's easier to level yourself up when you have already accepted that this is some people's bias, this is some people's limited perception, this is some people's, or the world or the market money systems or whatever the case may be. This is how they think. You see where I'm going with this? When you see, like when you actually accept it, it's easier to grow, I feel. But a lot of times when people just get stuck in, oh, well, I'm just a woman, right? Let's give an example, like, oh, I'm a woman, So if I'm in a male-dominated workspace or male-dominated field, right, a lot of women will say, you know, I feel uncomfortable because I work with a bunch of men. Okay, that's just an example. So what I'm saying is, okay, for that particular career track, that particular job position, etc., you will go a lot farther, okay, if you just accept that harsh reality and in turn create your own desired reality. So the key is you have to eliminate, are we all getting this morning? You have to eliminate a lot of, and it's, like I said, depending upon who you are, you may have more blockages, more trauma, okay, more bad experiences, yes, than somebody else, you know, or lack thereof of experience. Some people have never worked a real professional job. Some people have just literally ridden the coattails of their parents or their inheritance all their life. They've never knew what it was to experience prejudice. They've never understood or experienced what it is to build something from the ground up, from scratch, broke, tired, busted, and disgusted. That's the reality, okay? But when you accept that, okay, some things are naturally unfair because they are unfair. I'm not even going to mince words with that, okay? Some things are unfair. You're not agreeing to the victim script. You got that? You're not agreeing to their victim script. You're not agreeing to the biases. You're not agreeing to the prejudice. You're not agreeing to the blocks. You're over superseding that. You're overlooking that. You're creating your desired reality because why? That's not a trauma bond or a trauma response that you have to deal with. But I do think it's unfair to erase it completely. Unless you're ready to seriously get down to business, I don't think it's fair for people out here to say that that doesn't exist or that's not a stumbling block, because it is, you know, and it is. Some industries are male dominated, okay? They are. And so as a woman, depending upon what industry you're in, okay, you may have to accept that you're going to feel uncomfortable. That's the point that I'm making. You may have to mentally, you know, jump over that hurdle that's so big as a boulder in your life just to get to the other side. And so I don't think that people should shy away from that, because by shying away from it and by not even giving it the credit, right, the acknowledgement is like almost like therefore saying that, oh, it doesn't exist. Like racism doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? But it does. So we have to be honest, especially, you know, this is just my perspective. I'd rather be honest with you all, okay, and speak from the heart, but with a twist, and say, okay, well, if that's what you're experiencing, because most people are not going to say that outright, you know what I'm saying? They don't even have a time to share how horrible their upbringing was, okay? But that's a big part of why they're not where they want to be. A lot of people, I was listening to another African-American guy. Well, I hate that term really, but let's just say black for the heck of the video, okay, whatever. In that wealth building, one of the wealth building videos I watched, and okay, in his case, he was talking about plane again. 1 second, there's a plane. I don't know why though, it's all these planes all of a sudden. Memorial Day weekend, y'all, this is how it is. 1 second, I don't want to talk over the plane. So in that young man's life, okay, and given his own testimony, his own story to success, so-called success, he had to admit up front that he said he was homeless. He said he was homeless, he was broke. He was in and out of school systems, right? So that is something that the matrix will put in your way, okay? So it's not like you're going from A to Z, right? As you're going from A to Z, there may be challenges, right? There may be things that are unfair. There may be a lot of issues, okay? And I think that's that's so valid to put and to say in a video like this, because a lot of people secretly, okay, and I've seen it in the comments, you know, a lot of people secretly, they don't know if they belong. They don't know if their story applies to making it out on the other side. They don't know because maybe they've never seen somebody like them. Maybe they don't have people in their family that have, you know, personally achieved what they want to achieve. So they feel lost. Okay, and that's very important to know. It's easier if you've already seen somebody close to you do it, or somebody who's actually, you know, holding your hand and giving you tips and tricks and all that. But when you're doing it majority by yourself, for your desired reality, you have to give yourself the umpteenth credit. You have to give yourself way more credit, okay? Because you didn't have an advantage. You didn't have people just throwing you a bone, right? You had to get it out the mud, so to speak. And it's that much sweeter. But because it's that much sweeter, you also have to keep in mind that people may not understand what you're going through. And on your way to the top, on your way out and through, on your way to certain, you know, personal financial goals, a lot of people, or just society in general, is not always going to get it. You know, like the people that are, let's say, for example, the people that are into the lottery, they're into manifesting, you know, literally money out of thin air, okay? Somebody who's been raised with money or doesn't really value or understand the depths of money, okay, they may look at people like that and say, well, then why are you doing that? Okay, like, what is the point of that? Because they haven't had to work for it. And if they haven't had to work for it, they don't even understand how it could change your life or how it could change your situation. So that's giving an example of, like, you can't really concern yourself if they get it or not, because they're not in your shoes. Respectfully, they're not in your shoes. And that's a point that I think even especially particular people have to get to, is they're not going to understand. You know, when you're talking about manifesting your dream career and manifesting the lottery and retiring young and being able to have all this wealth just stored up, you know what I'm saying? Most people are not going to understand why you're going so hard, why you're working so hard, why you're staying up at night to get extra hours, and why you're working on your business. Most people have a limited mentality. Whether they come from money or not, whether they come from a good household or not, they're limited. And until you push the envelope and you get out of the bias and the prejudice and the boulders and the blockages that be, it's like, you know, being stagnant, basically. So a word of advice so far, if you wanted, like, you know, say what about for my own journey and my own life that I've learned, is like, you have to, you have to point blank period. You literally have to point blank period ignore so much, eliminate so much, down to certain content. Like I said, racism, so many things that people have never dealt with. You literally, okay, you literally have to eliminate that. You have to go into the world like you have nothing holding you back, like you are your star player, like you are the best thing since sliced bread. That's how you have to be every single day. And I'm not going to sit up here, okay, and say that it's easy, because it's not, okay? But the more that you are adapting and co-creating that desired reality, the easier it gets. Like, once you've programmed your mind to just not accept certain things, it will less frequently come your way, right? You will have to have less and less time or energy that you offload to that particular situation. Like, you'll just be so used to it at that point, and you'll have a systematic way of getting it out your face, that you already know how, and to see where it's coming from. You already know how to navigate, okay? So that's experience. That's experience. But this is a reason why a lot of people, you know, they give up on, you know, these laws of the universe, and they don't have the financial security or the wealth that they actually want to have, because of the limits, the limits of this matrix. And what happens is they then therefore adapt those things as a blueprint. They then therefore think that that's actually a fact, but you can bend that to your liking and you can discard that. You can eliminate that. You don't have to, even if somebody's like that to you, you don't have to buy into it, okay? If someone's seeing you in a negative light or they have a predeceived negative position of you, you don't have to co-sign what they're saying. You don't have to co-sign their bullshit, right? In your mind, in your life, in your reality, this is what you are, okay? And anybody or anything that doesn't match what you say you are is not relevant, okay? Doesn't matter. It's worth zero. The value in what they're saying and what they're doing is zero because it doesn't match up to your star player. It doesn't match up to what you say you are. It doesn't equal up to the reality, the desired reality that you want for yourself. So that's the bottom line, okay? Is, at least in my experience, I don't think it helps to not give yourself grace and to not heal, okay? Because if you don't give yourself grace and you don't heal, okay, the way that reality plays out will be dramatically different. Versus if you have healed from something, if you've acknowledged something, you've accepted something, and you move the hell on, it's so much easier to build so-called generational wealth or a good security blanket for yourself, or have your life together, quite frankly, if you give yourself the grace you need. Sometimes we are too hard on ourselves, Like I said, due to society's influence or how you're raised, right? Some people are so hard on themselves, you know what I'm saying? And every negative thing somebody says about them, they take as a fact. And a lot of us have been there where because we didn't know any better, every insult, every nasty thing somebody said, we automatically, would roommate over it because why? Nobody taught us any different. You don't know any better. So you take that as a fact. What I'm saying is, what do you say about you? Right? What do you say about you? Anybody else can say the most damnable thing to you, but if you don't believe it, it holds zero value. Okay? Zero. But if you have your own perspective, you have your own goals, your own plan, you're basically it's like having blinders up, okay? It's like having blinders up, You don't see what's going on out there. You don't see the negativity. You don't feel the negativity. It's like you are so locked in, right? And I'm locked in right now, if y'all can't tell. I'm tuned the hell up and I'm locked the fuck in because the reality is that, especially when it comes to retirement, what I notice is a lot of people, a lot of Americans, people in general, they expect the government or the mom and pop or whoever to give an olive branch. You know what I'm saying? When they hit 60, when they hit 50, when they hit 40, they expect people to just rescue them, right? And in my research and the data shows that that's not the case, okay? People that can retire in dignity, it's because they rescued themselves. I'll repeat that. The people that have achieved what they want to achieve and they go for what they want to go for, they have basically rescued themselves. When you dare to dream, let me just say this real quick. And I'm learning this myself, when you dare to dream and when you dare to say that, no, I'm not going to let that limiting belief or limited perception ruin my life or stop me, you're so much better for yourself. You love yourself more, because you have your own back and you realize that, okay, it's up to me now, right? You then begin to say to yourself, it's up to me to figure this out. If I have extra help or I have extra input, great. But I'm not reliant upon that. There's a difference, okay? I'm not waiting for a savior, like even the way I think, and I know people are not gonna like this, whatever, because maybe they're stuck in misogyny, but even down to like marriage and stuff like that, that's not your escape button, okay? And some people more than others, you know what I'm saying? They will have nothing to show for themselves, but they'll just be chasing marriage all their life because that's what they were raised to believe, So in terms of having their own degrees, their own business, their own e-commerce, they have nothing of that, but all they have is to mooch off a man's money because that's how they were raised, or that's what they choose to believe, the lifestyle they want to have, okay? But me personally, I can't relate to that, okay? All that love stuff is a bonus. I'm not for or against it. It's just, I'm gonna rescue me. I'm gonna do it for me. I'm not gonna wait for anybody to try to make it happen. All the success, all the things I've done up to this point in my life, I have not waited for anybody to give me the green light. And that's the big difference between the haves and the have-nots, okay? The people that are actually self-made out here, okay, and make shit shake. They don't wait for somebody to validate who they are. They don't wait for somebody or something out here to say that they're great. If you can't see my greatness, that's on you, boo. But that's not on me. So, it's just a total shift. But I think that for one people and other people, it's a process. It's a process that I don't think that many people are being honest about, especially when it comes to, the more nasty parts of just life and how hard it can really be. But that's why I think that people that go through that should be going even harder, should be even more focused, should be even more inspired, because that the chips are against you, right? Like, let's be real. Like, that the books and the chips are stacked against you. So if you know that, why would you not go 10 times harder? Why would you not make better financial decisions? Why would you not save for a rainy day? Why would you not invest for a rainy day? Or why would you not want to have things paid off, right? Instead of you keep owing somebody. Like right now with my car's almost paid off. I got my car like literally 3 years ago. My car's almost paid off. And I'm looking to up my payments to pay it off because, I want to have those other funds for something else. You know what I'm saying? I want to have those funds for something else. So that's the message, y'all. I love you, okay? I'm getting out here. Getting off here. Love you guys. Bye.